Meghan Markle sat gracefully at the view table Thursday morning, her first appearance on the show since moving back to California. She'd agreed to discuss her new children's wellness initiative and carefully avoided any royal drama in the pre-interview. The audience had given her a warm welcome, and even the host seemed charmed by her presence initially. Whoopi started gently. She said, "Meghan Markle is here to talk about her new project focusing on children's mental health. Meghan, tell us what inspired this initiative." Meghan responded warmly, clearly prepared. She said, "Thank you, Whoopi. As a mother, I've seen how the world can impact our children's emotional well-being. We're creating safe spaces for kids to express themselves and learn emotional literacy early." The conversation flowed naturally for several minutes. Sunny Hostin asked thoughtful questions about the program structure. Sarah Haynes inquired about partnering organizations. Even Alyssa Farah Griffin seemed engaged with the topic. Joy Behar had been unusually quiet, occasionally smirking or rolling her eyes just enough for the camera to catch, but not enough to seem overtly rude. About 10 minutes in, during a discussion about children's screen time, Joy finally spoke. She said, "It's interesting you're concerned about children's well-being when you've dragged your own family through the mud for money." The table went quiet. Meghan blinked, clearly taken aback. She composed herself quickly. She said, "I'm sorry, Joy. I'm not sure how that relates to helping children develop healthy emotional tools." Joy leaned back, that familiar smirk widening. She said, "I'm just saying, charity starts at home. Maybe focus on healing your own family before preaching to the rest of us about wellness." Sunny tried to intervene. She said, "Joy, that's not really." "What?" Joy interrupted. "We're all thinking it. She comes here playing Mother Teresa while her kids barely know their cousins, their grandfather, their heritage." Meghan's composure was cracking slightly. She said, "Joy, with respect, you don't know the private dynamics of my family. And frankly, it's not relevant to the work we're discussing." Joy pressed on, seemingly emboldened. She said, "Oh, but you made it relevant when you went on Oprah, when you did the Netflix series, when you wrote the book. You can't profit from family drama, then clutch pearls when someone mentions it." Alyssa attempted to redirect. She said, "Maybe we should get back to the initiative." "No," Joy continued, her voice getting nastier. "I want to know how someone who abandoned the royal family for Hollywood cash teaches children about loyalty and values. Seems hypocritical." Meghan took a breath, clearly fighting to maintain dignity. She said, "I didn't abandon anyone. I protected my family from an environment that was harmful to our mental health, which is exactly why this initiative matters." "Protected?" Joy laughed mockingly. "You married a prince. You lived in a palace. You had everything every little girl dreams of, and you threw it away because what? They asked you to follow some rules." The audience was getting uncomfortable. Some were shifting in their seats. Meghan's voice remained steady but strained. She said, "Those rules included accepting racist abuse toward my children. So yes, I chose their well-being over titles." Joy rolled her eyes dramatically. She said, "Oh please, the racism card again. You weren't complaining about racism when you were cashing those royal appearance checks." Whoopi finally tried to step in. She said, "Joy, let's move on." But Joy wasn't done. She said, "You know what I think? I think you're an opportunist. You saw a lonely prince, charmed him away from his family, and when being royal got too hard, you dragged him to LA to play celebrity. Now you're using your kids as props for another venture." Meghan stood up slowly. The grace never left her movements, but her eyes were glistening. She said quietly, "You just called my children props." Joy shrugged. She said, "If the tiara fits. My children," Meghan's voice was controlled, but you could hear the emotion, "are not props. They're human beings I'm trying to protect from exactly this kind of cruelty." She looked around the table at the other hosts, who seemed frozen. "I came here to talk about helping kids. Instead, I get attacked by someone who clearly gets pleasure from other people's pain. You know what? This is exactly why we left. This toxic need to tear down rather than understand." Sarah weakly offered, "Meghan, please don't go." Meghan turned to her. She said, "Sarah, your colleague just called me an opportunist, accused me of using my children, and mocked my family's pain. Would you stay?" She looked directly at Joy. "You sit here every day judging people you've never met, situations you've never lived, pain you've never felt. You reduce complex human experiences to punchlines. That's not journalism. That's not even entertainment. It's just cruelty. Now what you're seeing is someone choosing dignity over ratings. When a mother is attacked for protecting her children, when basic human decency is sacrificed for a moment of television drama, that's when you know why independent voices matter. This is exactly why platforms that tell the whole truth, not just the sensational parts, need your support. We show you what happens when real people face manufactured cruelty. Joy, defensive now, said, "Oh, you're so sensitive." Meghan's composure finally cracked completely. "You just accused me of being a gold digger who uses her children. You mocked my family's trauma. You reduced years of pain to a cheap joke. And I'm sensitive for not laughing along." She gathered her things with shaking hands. "You know what's really sad, Joy? You're a mother. You're a grandmother. And yet you can sit there and attack another mother for protecting her babies. What happened to you that made you so bitter?" Joy's face went red. She said, "Don't you psychoanalyze me." "I don't need to," Meghan interrupted. "Your cruelty speaks for itself. Every day you sit at this table spreading poison and calling it opinion." "Well, I won't be part of it." Whoopi stood up. She said, "Meghan, please, let's all just calm down." Meghan turned to her, tears now visible. She said, "Whoopi, she just called my children props. She called me an opportunist for protecting them from racism. There's no calming down from that. There's only leaving." She addressed the audience directly. "To every mother who's ever been judged for protecting your children, to everyone who's been called too sensitive for having boundaries, to anyone who's been mocked for choosing mental health over toxic tradition, you're not alone. And you don't have to sit there and take it." She looked at Joy one last time. "I feel sorry for you. To have lived this long and learned so little about compassion. To have a platform this big and use it for such smallness. I hope someday you heal whatever hurt made you this way." Joy shouted, "I don't need your pity." "No," Meghan said quietly, "you need therapy. But that's not my problem anymore." She walked off the stage with as much dignity as she'd entered with, though tears were streaming down her face. The studio erupted. Half the audience was on their feet applauding Meghan. Others were booing Joy. Some were just stunned into silence. The show cut to commercial immediately, but the damage was catastrophic. During the break, multiple audience members walked out. One woman was heard saying, "That was disgusting. Attacking her children? I'm done with this show." When they returned, Joy was gone, reportedly taken off set by producers. The remaining hosts struggled through the rest of the show, clearly shaken. Within minutes, #Joy Behar is vile was trending worldwide. The clip went mega viral, hundreds of millions of views across platforms. Celebrities rushed to Meghan's defense. Even those who'd been critical of her in the past couldn't defend Joy's cruelty. Serena Williams tweeted, "Watched my friend get attacked for being a protective mother. At The View should be ashamed. Calling children props is disgusting." Even Piers Morgan, typically a Meghan critic, posted, "I've had my issues with Meghan Markle, but Joy Behar's attack was cruel and unnecessary. Going after someone's children is always wrong." The View released a tone-deaf statement about passionate discussion that only made things worse. By evening, major sponsors had pulled out. Parents' organizations condemned the show. The hashtag boycott The View gained millions of supporters. Joy tried to defend herself on Twitter, claiming she was just asking questions. But the ratio was brutal. Every tweet got thousands of responses calling her out. 3 days later, Meghan posted a thoughtful response on her Archewell site. "I went on The View to discuss helping children. Instead, my own children were attacked. This is why mental health initiatives matter, because cruelty has been normalized as entertainment. I won't be silent about it. Our children deserve better than a world where their worth is debated for ratings." The post included resources for parents dealing with bullying and public scrutiny. Within a week, Joy Behar announced she was taking a hiatus from The View. Industry insiders said she'd been forced out by ABC executives panicking over the backlash. Meghan's Children's Initiative, meanwhile, received millions in donations from people moved by her stand against bullying. At a fundraiser months later, Meghan addressed the incident one final time. "That day taught me something. We can't control cruelty, but we can control our response. I chose to walk away, not from weakness, but from strength. Because staying in toxic situations to prove you're tough isn't brave. Protecting your peace is." She smiled softly. "And if my walking away showed one mother she doesn't have to tolerate disrespect, one person they deserve better than cruelty disguised as conversation, then it was worth it. The revolution wasn't scripted. It wasn't planned. It was just a mother refusing to let anyone call her children props. A woman choosing dignity over entertainment. Proof that sometimes the most powerful response to cruelty is simply refusing to accept it, even when cameras are rolling. Especially then.